So TRVL's kind of pulled back a little bit, which isn't unexpected, because we were kind of like potentially losing steam in this kind of little rally. I don't know if we've kind of hit any significant level, except just being in the highs of this range. So on the weekly time frame, so this is kind of what I'm seeing with Bitcoin now. So Bitcoin now is forming this red candle, whereas TRVL formed the red candle last week. And so the price has gone up into this kind of weekly level and reacted, which is potentially normal. I think for this week, I think if we could close green, that would be good. And so we still have a couple of 1.5 days to go. I think this is going to be a real test, actually, because I think closing green and closing red are going to be very different in the way the price behaves. If you close green, you create a new level underneath us here, and that's a weekly level, and we're basically in a weekly range between two fresh weekly levels, one fresh weekly level and one previously tapped weekly level above us. If we close red, then we've clearly rejected from a higher level and we haven't created a new level, and so potentially you could be looking for lower, potentially. And so we're in a bit of a place where we need the price to close by tomorrow evening above this kind of yellow line, probably about 4.8 cents, just simply because we want to create a new liquidity level here. And so when I look at the close, so on every exchange it's different, but on Bybit it's 4.78 cents. And ideally you want more of a kind of, I mean, although it would be fine because you'd be looking at a gravestone doji. You kind of, if you have a little bit of a body, that would be nice too. And then you have a nice fresh liquidity level here, and then we just have to see what happens to see if the price can find support off that level. And so ideally, so there's different ways that this candle can close on a weekly time frame, which is going to signify different things. I think closing above 50% of the body would be the most bullish scenario in this case. Closing underneath, there's still hope, but it's harder because you have less body to fall back into that level. You have less room to fall back into that level. As you sometimes when you create these candles, you need a little bit of room for the price to pull back before it hits the level, so that when it hits the level, the price is a little bit exhausted before the price can reverse. So this is kind of the lines that I'm having in my mind. You have the weekly level up here, which was cleared. Now the price is coming back down, and you kind of potentially you kind of want the price to linger here in the top half of the weekly body, and at the very least you don't want the price to close down here, because then if you close, at least if you close in this range, you're creating a green weekly level, which will mean that this lower line becomes your fresh liquidity level. So and if you close above the 50%, you just have a little bit of room for the price to potentially pull back into this newly created level that you form lower down. Yeah, so let's just say the price manages to hold here and then close here. The next week, if we get a little bit of a pullback, that will be fine, because you're pulling back into a freshly drawn weekly liquidity level, and hopefully by the time it reaches there, you've exhausted a bunch of sellers, and then the price could start making its way up again. And that's the kind of scenario that would be the best. And effectively what you're doing, you look at the different exchanges and you draw a volume area. What we're trying to do now is we're trying to create volume above this value area. Yeah, and we're trying to hold the top of the value area, this value area high. We're trying to hold that as support. So effectively what we're trying to do is hold the whole of this value area. The whole value area becomes our support block. That's what we're trying to do. Yeah, and we just have to see how the price behaves to see if the price can hold the top of this volume area as support, or if we get some kind of failed auction and we can fall back into the value area, maybe even a back test for resistance, and then we're just basically heading right back down to the point of control. And it's just, this is just effectively some kind of failed auction in the highs. Okay, so there's a few things that could happen here. And when I looked at the other exchanges as well, I was looking at they all have the same idea. I think with the only exception is that in KuCoin, the volume area on KuCoin is different compared to the others. So at the moment on KuCoin, we are already in the top of the value area. So assuming that this whole thing is a range, we're at the top of the range. So on KuCoin, it's almost like we're at the top of the range. Whereas in all the other exchanges, so basically MEX and Gate, it's the same as Bybit. We're above the value area. And it's the same idea. If we can just hold the top as support and put in some volume here, then we're creating the right conditions for continuation. Effectively, that's what we're doing. And no one can manipulate this. It's just price action. It's just buyers and sellers and supply and demand. So if we back test that and hold that as support, then effectively what we're doing is we're creating a new range above this previous range, and that's kind of what we want to do. We want to create a new range, and as long as we continue ranging here and start putting volume into this higher, these slightly higher prices, then the momentum could carry us to the next level. Okay, and that's how it kind of works. And if it doesn't, the price doesn't behave the way we hope, then we're basically ranging more in the original range, which is this. And effectively what will happen is the price will go down looking for liquidity. It's what it happens when you lose levels. If it can't hold, then it will just go down looking for liquidity to see where there's more liquidity, until it finds liquidity, until the sellers are finally exhausted, and then the price just comes back up again, and then we just have to make another attempt. What happens then is that you just have a much more prolonged period of consolidation, and you have potentially you have a much wider range potentially. So I think it will be, for everyone's sanity, it will be good if we can hold this value area high, because I feel like that people are still a little bit nervous, just simply because of the way the price moves. It's the swings are very high. So just now, even in the last however many minutes that we've pulled back a little bit from this top and this high here, You know, we're already down 3.5%, 3.3%. For a lot of people, you know, that they get quite nervous when you get pullback. So we pull back to this line that I want held, that's a 12% drop. You know, a lot of people are nervous when that happens. That's fine. I think that the solution is to have a little bit of capital on the side so that you're ready to buy the dip. The dips, you buy the dip. Because in this market, I don't really see crazy selling at the moment. I don't see it. I'm not seeing crazy selling. And so when you do get a little bit of a sell pressure, not only is it getting a little bit absorbed, eventually it will diminish, and it's a low volume descent effectively, which is bearish. It's not bullish. The low volume descents aren't bullish. Let me have a look and see. Yeah, so we're already forming, like, again, more bearish divergences, bullish divergences. You see how the MACD is making lows here, and the price is still in that making higher lows. See that? Just get rid of these. So there is absorption going on. The CCI is the same thing. You see how on the CCI we've just made like lower low, and we're actually forming higher lows potentially here. So we are forming hidden bullish divergences as the price comes down. I'm not saying that there aren't bearish divergences as the price go up. It's a different kind of divergence as the price goes up. See, as the price goes up, you're getting bearish divergences, but it's not the same. It's not absorption. It's it's a lack. So the price is going up and the MACD isn't going up. It means that it's basically low rise volume, but it isn't massive absorption of sellers. So it's not like selling that's causing the divergences. It's the lack of volume. Whereas on the way down, it's buying is causing the bullish divergence. It's different. It's not lack of volume, it's buying. So the price going down is going into buying. The price going up is just going into lack of volume. It's going into empty order books, which is creating those bearish divergences. And so those bearish divergences exist, but they're not especially strong. And so the ones coming down the bullish divergence are much stronger because you have the oscillators making lower lows, but the price is making higher lows. Yeah, and I can see that's continuous throughout the course of this accumulation periods that we've been having through and through. I've been seeing that consistently, and so we still have a lot of interest in accumulation. And if you were to go and have a look at the order books, you'll see that on average there's more buying. So that's something to consider about TRVL. Yeah, the weekly chart is going to be the thing to look for at the end of this week. Have a look. That's going to be something to pay attention to. And to be fair, I really like red candles on the way up. Yeah, it's quite scary when you get just green candles on the way up. And the reason why it's scary is because there's no like support that's built, structural support when it comes in terms of market structure. So these red candles, when you're creating red candles as the price ascends, is really good, because if you create them and then you create these green candles that follow, you're creating kind of levels, order levels. So it just means that if the price goes up and the price comes back down, you've got support levels. Yeah, when you're just creating green candles with no red candle, this is a red candle here, just green, 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 especially these like single green candles, just one explosive green candle. The problem is the price can very easily slip down these candles very quickly. Yeah, and so I don't really have a problem if the price 1 week, 2 week, like on our ascent, we are forming red candles and then green candles, red candles. That's like the healthiest way to ascend. And so if we were to ascend with red candles, that's really healthy, especially on the higher time frame. And so actually right now, looking at the monthly time frame, it hasn't closed yet, but you see on the monthly time frame we have 3 green candles in a row. And so the nearest red candle below us is this red candle here. It's not too far away, but like if we were to just continue greening all the way up, then you have to consider that we're still far away from this monthly red candle. It becomes further and further away. So potentially it'll be a lot healthier in the future if, as we do ascend, we do create like 1 monthly red candle before we get a continuation, you know. And if that was to continue, it wouldn't be bearish, it would actually be bullish. And in the same way that the price, as the price was descending, you created these green candles, it just, as the price tried to bounce back up, they formed levels of resistance which prevented the price to just bounce up. Yeah, so on the way down, when you create green candles, you're creating resistance, and on the way up, as you're creating red candles, you're creating support. And so there are a few levels of resistance. This one's washed because of these wicks, but potentially that one's washed too. Potentially that's the next kind of level of resistance in a slightly higher time frame. But it's good because as we're going up now, we are creating red candles. That's what you want to see. You want to create red candles on the ascent. We don't just want it to be green, 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 green. We want it to be red. And especially after we are able one day to flip this 9-cent mark, it would be really amazing to get up there and form, a nice back test, red candle, maybe a couple, just to show that there's a little bit of structural support being built above 9 cents. It just means that if we were to continue and then come back down, you don't just have arbitrary lines, you have market structure and actual liquidity levels to hold the price in case it does come back down in the future after it ascends. Yeah, so I think no one should ever panic that we're creating these red candles as we ascend. That's kind of what you want to see. And so I'm not really phased by this latest mini sell-off. It's not really a sell-off actually. Look at the volume, it's like tiny. Look, this is on KuCoin. Look at this sell-off. It's like, it's pitiful really. 26,000, 21,000, 3,000, 13. I think about 50, 60,000 tokens have been sold. And the price is down 3%. It's 3% down based on 60,000 tokens. It's not much. It's like, how much is that? That's like $3,000. $3,000, maybe $4,000. $4,000 worth of USD dollars worth of tokens has pulled back the price by 2.5%. It's not bullish. Sorry, apologies. That's not bearish. That's actually bullish. It's a low volume descent. Is very bullish. So just kind of bear that in mind as you continue to accumulate. I'm trying to find reasons why people should accumulate, and I think these are some good compelling reasons. So yeah, nothing's really changed on the BTC chart. We're just still in the range. We're ranging in this volume area. We're above the point of control, which is good. We're into the value area high, and so naturally there is some kind of resistance level. There's a support level. We're ranging. Eventually we want the same thing. We want the price to get above the volume area, the value area, and find support for continuation. That's kind of what we want. And we have this kind of previous range here, which kind of overlaps with this previous range. We do eventually want the price to get back into this higher range, which would correspond nicely with these previous ranges, and that's going to be a sign of strength. To getting back into previous ranges is a sign of strength. So let's just see how that looks. The other line that I had, is let me just get rid of these now. It doesn't really matter, right? Is the higher time frame fib levels. And so, as I've explained in the past, the different charts have their nuances with different all-time highs and different all-time lows. I don't really care about that. I'm just going to focus on the actual correct figures. So you see, this is Bybit, and if you take it from the Bybit all-time high, which is incorrect, which is 4.5 almost, down to the Bybit all-time low, which is also incorrect, which is all the way down at 1.2 cents, you'll notice that we are on the Bybit chart, we're above the 236. Now if you were to use the correct figures, which is 1.56 roughly to 1.9 thereabouts, then you'll actually see that we are still on the Bybit chart, we are still underneath the 236. So there's a little bit of divergence in the information, and I don't know if people are using the correct figures. I don't know that. I think maybe some people are using just top to tip to toe. And the funny thing is that KuCoin, because the top on KuCoin is slightly lower, what you have is it looks like on KuCoin we've actually easily found acceptance above this level. We haven't back tested it yet, but we found some kind of acceptance. Similar with Bybit, but this is not, again, this isn't incorrect. And then if you go to Gate, using the Gate data, just the Gate data from the Gate all-time high to the all-time low, you see the 236 is much higher. But again, if you use the correct figures, which is from 1.56 down to the all-time low, you see we're still underneath that level. So I think I'm just going to be a lot more satisfied when we do finally get up there and start finding support. I think these fib levels are so important. Like, I can't reiterate how important these fib levels are. And I think once you get back up there, you're back into this, you know, you're back into the meat of this range. You're back above a significant fib level, a higher time. Then I think you're just going to get relentless buying, because you're in a support level now. You've cleared all of these lows and you flipped a major fib into support, and all of this is, I don't, you know, we might not even, it may be difficult to go back down then. So we still have a little bit of work to do, and I think we're doing a really good job. and I think effectively what we want to do is suck up the selling, like literally absorb all of the selling. Now you can set limit orders, or as the price starts coming down now, you can probably just market buy that up, because it's so tiny. The volume is so low, you might just want to feel as the price comes down, you can just suck it up. You can just eat that dip and just take the price slightly, keep on taking the price up until eventually we can ascend above 5.5 cents and hold it as a back test. And potentially you'll be going into like the 6 cent mark, and then we're forming a new range there, potentially trying to hold the range there. And then I don't mind then if the range was to kind of extend for a little bit until we can figure out what to do next, and hopefully that will be continuation. Hopefully that will be continuation, and that will be nice. And what I'm starting to see form is a continuation of this idea which I have, which is some sort of this kind of Adam and Eve pattern. If we can do that, then we can really get bullish. Like, we can then suddenly get ultra bullish. So we're making a good way to getting to this kind of formation, and then ultimately it's just with people buying and selling and market and the demand. What did I do? All right, that's TRVL. Bitcoin. Is anything? No. Is there anything in the Telegram of TRVL? So let's have a look at the Telegram. I think that's quite interesting. It's always good to have a look at the Telegram, because not everyone has access to the Telegram. Let me just pull it open. So Travalos is asking, good morning, any idea when the official rollout of this travel NFT stamps for all users? Okay. Don't know if his question was answered. Travalos. Jack Cassis says Airbnb raising fees, they must want to be spanked. Exactly. Let's do it. New booking process, new operator sign up, new operator sign up, new booking process, new booking process. Look at this. Bookings are going up, operators are increasing. New operator. Look at this. New booking, direct booking site. Let me have a look at that, because I like to do this kind of stuff. Quickly have a look. Is that it? Nope, you can't see it. Let me try and open it again. There. Look at this. This is nice. Helen. This is lovely. Look at that. In Mexico. So this guy's on Airbnb as well. Look at these reviews. These are cool. So you can see his Airbnb reviews, and he has a link probably somewhere. A villa in Lyon. That's nice. Apartment in Tulum. Look at that bath. These are nice. This is nice. And look at that swimming pool. Playa del Carmen. The Elements Beach. Let's go to the beach. Okay, it's in Spanish. So this is one for the team. Can we get a translate going here? A little bit of a translate button. Click, or automated. That'd be nice. This is where it is. Playa del Carmen. Near Cancun. His Airbnb profile. Let's have a look at all the pictures. Let's see if we see the beach. Look at that shower. It's nice. That's the beach. Look at that. It's amazing. A bit of a gym. Right. I guess you could just do that. Let's see. Translate full page. Just translate the full page. Did that work? There you go. Discover comfort at the Elements, Playa del Carmen, an ideal paradise to dream and rest with an avant-garde living room and garden that invites you to immerse yourself in the infinity pool. Live in Caribbean charm, just steps from the ocean, in a space designed to delight your senses and enrich your stay. Your exclusive getaway awaits you. Right. Let's have a look at this villa. So it's interesting. This one is in English, and the other one was in Spanish. Unless it's all in Spanish. This is a slightly different location. It's far, right? Isn't it Guatemala? No, it's in Mexico. It's Guatemala. It's like dead center of Mexico. It's like really, it's like in the middle of the countryside. You want to go? Oh, this is all in Spanish. Wow. Look at these houses in Mexico. Oh my God, Mexico. Up and coming. Interesting. Okay. That's that. Let's go back to the Telegram quickly. So Travalos's question needs to be answered. Good morning. Any idea when the official rollout? Because I have no idea either. So it would be good for an answer there. Let's have a. Let me give him some. VD Man says, "Hi, I have some questions. Vacation rental operators pay 3% fee of cash, and they'll be earned 3% in TRVL rewards." Correct. That's correct. What can vacation rental operator use travel for when they sign up? Can they stake? Get some rewards. So James answers, great question. We're revising our tokenomics, so these questions will be answered correct. So basically what he's saying is that we are revising our tokenomics, and these questions will be addressed in terms of how people will be able to use their TRVL. And that is what everyone is waiting for, and there's a great anticipation for that. And so we just have to wait and be patient. And the reason why we're patient is because we want them to do a good job. And so the best jobs are done without the pressure of rushing. We don't want to rush them into a shoddy job. We want to give them enough time to give a proposal to the community which is going to be fully comprehensive, well thought through, and tested as well. We want to see the maths behind it to make sure that the economics behind what they're proposing works. And so if they need a little bit of time to achieve that, then fine. But the fact that there will be a use case for TRVL, which will include staking, which will include other aspects of usage, governance, etc., is a certainty. So keep on accumulating. VD Man says, if the tokenomics is like Bitcoin, it would be great. I agree 100%. That's what I said. So we're on the same page. Each vacation rental operator is like a modal node validator. Yep, I agree. TRVL will have utility itself. Yep. From my viewpoint, when vacation rental operator is rewarded, I think vacation rental operator will hold TRVL for some attractive rewards. Discount for fee, exchange for some gifts, give to traveler discount next vacation or stay, or even stake TRVL. The rewards might have halving like BTC. See, this was my idea. So I've said this, but we have to as a community and as a DAO, we have to wait for their proposals, and then we can comment, and then we have to vote. And if people are not happy with their proposals, then they have to give their suggestions to see how we can revise it. But at the end of the day, the community will decide in a vote, right? So one of the ways to have influence is to accumulate more tokens so that when it comes to the crunch point, we can vote for what we want and we can influence it in our feedback. So all of these feedback, the more people feedback, the more influence that they will have, because it's good to be vocal. All right, that's that. Let me have a look at other things. Let me see. Anything else? Let's go back to that page. So we can close that now. It's expected, like we've come into a weekly level. As long as we're forming a green weekly level here, I'll be okay. It's because what I want us to do is, I've explained this, but I'll do it again. What I want us to do, so the weekly closes tomorrow. This is our weekly level. And what I want us to do is create a brand new one here. That would be really nice. And I wouldn't mind if the price closes above. So basically there's 3 levels I have in mind right now. And we have to see what happens with the price. Is this Mexi? Let me have a look at KuCoin. Yeah. So we have this higher weekly level here. We have this old weekly level here. And then we have to see what happens with the price. Because if we form a green candle tomorrow, then potentially you could have a brand new weekly level here, potentially. And see how that looks on the price action at the lower time frames. It's kind of where the price is right now, between these, potentially between these 3 higher levels. And as I think if we were to close on the weekly level, if the weekly candle was to close above here, that would be really good. That would be a really strong sign, because then we're closing above a previous level, which is like a reclaim, and also we've created a new level underneath us. And so this level here underneath us, you only create if the weekly can close above this level, because it's the previous week. It would be the previous week open, or wait, close. And so this week has to close higher. Then you create a new liquidity level. And so we're basically, effectively, we're in this upper range here. So we have to see how this is. And actually it's good because the point of control in this little range here, even though we're above the value area, the point of control is lower down, which is kind of what you want. But ideally, if it was possible to close above this previous weekly level, that would be really positive. Let me have a look at the other exchanges and draw out the same levels to see if they're kind of saying the same thing. So let me just quickly draw those. It's we have to do this on all the exchanges. It's fine. And then potentially one there. Let's see what that looks like. Like that. I'll just draw a new range pool. There, so you see on MEX actually the point of control is higher up. A close above this weekly level would be the best. It would be the best for me. So that's MEX. Let me have a look at Gate and see what Gate is looking like. Slightly lower, potentially there, and keep an eye on these. Let's have a look at this. Again, we're the point of control is slightly higher up. And buy a bit as well. And have a look at the BT's chart. I think this is a good discovery. So sometimes you look at these charts and you just find something new that could happen. Look at buy a bit. It's that one there. Okay, the volume is a little bit lower, so Bybit's a little bit more bullish at the moment. So this is kind of our current price action right now. So this is Bybit. KuCoin is a little bit more bullish because we're above the value area. On Gate, we're underneath the point of control, so there's a little bit of a gap down into this higher volume area here, but that's okay, because if we get down here and put some volume in, then we could flip the point of control down to here, so that's okay. And then again, the same thing with MEX. We kind of, on MEX and Gate, we need a little bit more volume here. We can hold this level on the weekly level, then that will be really, really positive, because not only will we then create a new weekly level here, we're also closing above a previously a historic weekly level. So it's almost like a reclaiming it as support, coming in and holding it as support. And then we have to see how this range plays out, because ideally what you want to do is you want to flip that higher level into support for continuation. That's kind of the next level to achieve. And if we are able to close above this lower level, then that weekly level would be created, and that will be a new liquidity level. And so naturally it would make it a lot more difficult to go down once after we've created that level. So we're still quite in a really good place, and we just have to see how this kind of behaves after tomorrow's weekly close. Anything can happen on weekly closes, and we just have to see. If we have to see if people sell, if people buy, or if people just hodl. And we have to see where the weekly does close, and no one can predict that. At the moment we're in this kind of mini range here, and we just have to let the price consolidate before it figures itself out.